13,000 years ago, a group of hunter-gatherers climbed into a cave carrying baskets of grain. The cave was a cemetery. They crushed the grain inside stone holes cut into the floor. They soaked it. They warmed it. Then they waited for something invisible to take over. They were not baking bread. They were making beer for a funeral. No city, no written recipe, no brewery. Not even a ceramic beer mug. Just a stone bowl, wild grain, and enough confidence to serve the result to everyone they knew. Which raises a much stranger question than who invented alcohol? How did people who did not know yeast existed learn to get drunk on purpose? Because finding alcohol is easy. Nature makes it everywhere. Leave sweet fruit in the heat and wild yeast begins eating the sugar. A few days later, the fruit is softer, smellier, slightly alcoholic, and extremely suspicious. Modern humans are not the only primates willing to investigate suspicious fruit. Researchers have even documented wild chimpanzees sharing naturally fermented African breadfruit containing ethanol. That does not prove the chimps were having a party, but it does show that alcohol existed in primate diets long before anyone built a bar. For an ancient human, fruit was fermentation on easy mode. The sugar was already there. Yeast only had to arrive. Grain was different. Grain looks promising. If it stores well, it is packed with energy. But most of that energy is locked inside starch, and yeast cannot do much with starch. Yeast wants sugar. So the first serious brewers had to solve a chemistry problem without knowing chemistry existed. First, they soaked the grain and let it begin to sprout. That woke up natural enzymes inside the seed. Then they dried it, crushed it, mixed it with water, and warmed the mash. Those enzymes broke the starch into sugar. Only then could wild yeast move in and produce alcohol. In other words, Stone Age people had invented malting and mashing while working with equipment that was mostly rocks. No thermometer, no microscope, no packet-labeled brewer's yeast. Just wet grain, hot stones, repeated failure, and one person insisting, no, no, leave the weird bowl alone. I think it is doing something. The evidence for this comes from Raqefet Cave, near modern Haifa. Archaeologists studied residue inside roughly 13,000-year-old stone mortars and found signs consistent with cereal-based beer production. The people using the cave were Natufian hunter-gatherers, living before full-scale farming had taken over the region. Their beer was probably nothing like a cold modern lager. It was likely weak, cloudy, and thick. Less craft IPA, more alcoholic oatmeal. And the location matters. Raqefet was also a burial site. The researchers argue that beer may have been prepared for ritual feasts, possibly to honor the dead, strengthen the living group, or both. That means one of the oldest known breweries may not have been attached to a tavern. It may have been attached to a graveyard. This is the part of alcohol history that gets missed. Ancient humans did not first need alcohol because they were bored. They needed reasons to gather, mourn, celebrate, trade, settle arguments, meet strangers, and turn 50 nervous individuals into one cooperating group. A shared drink was useful social technology. But these early brewers were not starting from zero. Their bodies had been encountering ethanol for an absurdly long time. A study of an enzyme called ADH4 found that the common ancestor of humans, chimpanzees, and gorillas developed a much greater ability to metabolize ethanol roughly 10 million years ago. One possibility is that this helped ground foraging apes handle fallen fruit that had begun to ferment. That does not mean evolution installed a 10-million-year-old desire for happy hour. It means our lineage was already better equipped to process small amounts of alcohol long before anyone learned to manufacture it. Then humans began solving the same problem in completely different ways. At Jiahu in ancient China, chemical residue inside 9,000-year-old pottery revealed a fermented mixture of rice, honey, and fruit. It was not beer, wine, or mead exactly. It was the prehistoric version of someone looking at 3 separate drink categories and saying, put all of them in the jar. In parts of the Andes, people making certain forms of chicha use their own mouths as part of the process. Corn is full of starch, so brewers chewed it before fermentation. Saliva contains amylase, an enzyme that helps convert starch into fermentable sugar. It sounds disgusting until you realize what they had built. A human-powered countertop appliance. In Mesoamerica, brewers collected sweet sap from agave and fermented it into pulque. With honey, the process could be even easier. Add water, wait for wild yeast, and hope the bees did not return to demand royalties. Different ingredients, different continents. Same objective. Unlock sugar, invite yeast, wait. The real breakthrough was not discovering alcohol. Nature had already handled that part. The breakthrough was learning how to make the accident happen on schedule. Once humans could do that, alcohol stopped being a lucky surprise and became a dependable product. Ancient Egypt scaled the idea dramatically. Beer was produced in large quantities, consumed as food, used in festivals, and distributed as part of workers' rations. People sometimes drank from a large communal vessels using straws to avoid swallowing the floating grain and sediment. So imagine finishing a day hauling stone in the Egyptian heat, then gathering around a giant jar of cloudy beer with your coworkers, everyone drinking through long straws. It was less like opening a bottle after work and more like the entire construction crew sharing one enormous alcoholic smoothie. And no, this does not mean ancient people only drank beer because every cup of water was deadly. That story is too simple. They drank water. Beer mattered because it carried calories, tasted different, fit religious and social rituals, and could be produced and distributed as a reliable food. Alcohol also became useful in medicine. Ancient healers mixed wine and beer with herbs, used them as delivery liquids for remedies, and sometimes used wine to clean wounds or dull pain. They did not understand microbes or anesthesia. They only knew that certain mixtures seemed to help, and that the patient complained less afterward. By this point, alcohol was no longer one thing. It was a funeral drink in a cave, a chemistry trick hidden inside a sprouting seed, a bowl of rice, honey, and fruit in China, a mouth-powered corn beer in the Andes, a worker ration beside an Egyptian building site, a sacred offering, a medicine, a feast, a paycheck you could drink, and all of it came from humans learning to cooperate with an organism they could not see. Yeast did the actual brewing. Humans built the conditions, remembered what worked, taught someone else, and slowly turned random fermentation into technology. So how did ancient humans get drunk? Not because one genius suddenly invented beer. They watched fruit change. They noticed what sprouted grain could do. They ruined countless batches. They built stone mortars. They chewed starch into sugar. They saved the jars that worked. And eventually they learned to summon the same invisible reaction whenever a funeral, feast, festival, or hard day of labor required it. Which brings us back to that cave. 13,000 years ago, people gathered beside their dead and shared something they had made together. We cannot know exactly what they said, how strong the drink was, or whether anyone woke up regretting a second bowl. But the basic scene would still look familiar. A group gathers, a drink is passed, stories are told. The people who arrived separately begin acting like one group. The oldest achievement was not getting drunk. Nature could do that by accident. The human achievement was learning how to make the feeling arrive exactly when the group needed it.
Please like and subscribe for more content like this. We really appreciate your support.